Alright, let's take a look at creating shapes within Adobe Illustrator. We'll find our Shapes tools over here on the left-hand side toolbar. It's going to show up as the rectangle tool icon most likely by default. If you click and hold into that though, you'll see that we have a lot of other tool options here. Let's go ahead and mouse over this right side arrow and release, and that will open up this separate toolbar for easy access that we can just drag over here. Now, starting with the rectangle tool, when you have a shape tool out, you're going to see this crosshair icon. You can go ahead and click and hold, drag out to create a shape. With the rectangle tool, if you hold shift, that will create a perfect square. Drag out to the desired size, release, and release shift, and that will create your shape. Now let's go over here to the stroke and fill options. If you currently have a stroke on, let's just click on the stroke box and then click none here to make sure that we don't have an outline. Then we'll go to fill, we'll double click on that, and let's just create color here so that it stands out on our artboard. Now once you have a shape created, you can click and drag on it to move it around your canvas, or you can click and drag while holding the Alt key to make a duplicate. If you click and drag with the Alt key and the Shift key, that'll create a duplicate that's in line with the original shape, which allows you to create shapes that are perfectly aligned and in a row with each other. Now, when you have the selection tool out here, you'll see that you have got some transform controls around your shape. All these little boxes here allow you to transform the shape from that direction or in that direction. So, for example, if I click and drag on this box here with this horizontal arrow, I can elongate my shape in this direction, or if I do it on this bottom one, I can do it in that direction. I can also make my shape smaller this way. If I go to the corners and have this 45-degree angle, that will allow me to drag out from the corner, manipulating both the left and right, the right and the bottom of the shape. On the corners, if you move your cursor out slightly, you'll see this curved arrow. This is what allows you to rotate your shapes within Illustrator. And if you hold shift while you're doing this, it will allow you to rotate in perfect 45-degree increments. Now, if you hold the shift key while you are using any of these side or corner transforms, you will resize your shape while maintaining the same proportions. If you hold the Shift and Alt key, you will not only maintain the same proportions, but you will also keep the center point locked. So the shape will expand evenly around this center point. Now you'll see on the corners here we have these little circles. If you mouse over that, you'll have this cursor with 90-degree curve. If you click and drag on those, that will allow you to round the edges of your shape. Moving on to the next tool, we have the rounded rectangle tool. This does the same thing, except it creates the rectangle already with curves made. Next we have the Ellipse Tool. This allows you to create ovals, or if you hold shift, it will allow you to create perfect circles. Next we have the Polygon Tool. Now if you have not opened the Polygon Tool yet within that specific document that you're working in, the first time that you click, it will open up this window. This allows you to select the amount of sides that you want your polygon to have. To start, let's go ahead and select 3 sides, hit OK, and this will create a perfect equilateral triangle. Once you've done that for the first time in your document and you've selected the amount of sides you want, you can go ahead and click and drag, and now you'll be able to create polygons in that size. If you hold shift, it'll create a perfectly upright triangle. Now let's say you want to create a polygon with a different number of sides. If you double click, that will open this window back up. You can select your new amount of sides. Let's make an octagon, for example. And now you can go ahead and create octagons. Finally, we have the star tool. This one's pretty self-explanatory. It creates perfect stars. If you click and drag without holding shift, you can create stars at any angles, or if you hold shift, it'll create upright stars. Next, let's go ahead and look at how we can use the direct selection tool with our shapes. So to do this, I'm just going to go ahead and create a square, and next to it I'll just make a quick circle. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to my direct selection tool, which is this filled in white pointer. With the direct selection tool, you can select individual anchors or paths within your shapes. Now anchors are these squares that you'll see at any endpoint within a shape or at the intersection of curves on shapes like circles. And paths are the lines that connect those anchors. You can kind of think of it as connect the dots. With the direct selection tool, you can select a specific anchor point and manipulate it independent of the other anchor points and paths within the shape. For example, if I just selected this corner anchor, I can now drag it around to manipulate my shape. Or I can select that anchor, hit delete, and it will completely get rid of that anchor point and the shape will autofill between the remaining anchor points. I can also use the direct selection tool to round one corner at a time. On a circle, if you select one of the anchor points and hit delete, you can easily create semicircles. Finally, with this direct selection tool, you can hold shift to select multiple anchor points and manipulate them independently from the rest of the shape. For example, if I selected these two anchor points on the top of my square, I could use them to skew the square or to round just the top of the square to create this badge shape, which could be useful in creating a logo or emblem of some kind. In our next video, we'll cover the Pathfinder and Shape Builder tools, which will give you a lot more power to create designs and graphics with shapes.